Chiefs news, analysis, and opinion every day. In the Patrick Mahomes era, the Kansas City Chiefs have been to 5 Super Bowls and won 3 Super Bowls, meaning there are 2 non-wins. A very large component of both of the aforementioned non-wins was the left tackle position. And the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be better at left tackle during the 2025 season, no matter who starts. We've got, however, some thoughts from Andy Reid on JoeH Simmons, the first-round pick for the Kansas City Chiefs, who is in line to play left tackle. In an article titled JoeH Simmons Surprised the Chiefs in First Practice, Why Next Step is Critical from the Kansas City Star by Sam McDowell, we get the following. The Chiefs brought their draft picks, free agent rookies, and tryout hopefuls to Kansas City last weekend, nearly 90 of them in all. This column is about the future of just one, because it's the player on which the success of the 2025 draft class should pivot. JoeH Sims. Frankly, I don't know if that's true. Jalen Royals appears to be a very, very, very underrated pick in this class, might have been a very underrated player in the draft, and I think is going to be consequential for the Kansas City Chiefs for many years to come. Brashard Smith might be a plug-and-play, spark plug running back. Then you have Omar Norman-Lott, who could be stepping into the biggest weakness on the Chiefs' defense for the past how many seasons? The starting spot next to Chris Jones. Ashton Gillotte will be very, very pivotal towards reclaiming the Chiefs' defense, reclaiming one of the top spots in the NFL with 50-plus sacks versus the 39 that they had last season, returning them to the form that won consecutive Super Bowls, hopefully. But, yes, JoeH Simmons, should he be what he looks to be, would be absolutely pivotal for this class. I just think there might be some underrated players in there, not to mention Noel Williams, right? So, just saying. Forward in the article, if you heard about the reasons for his draft day fall to number 32 overall, a senior season-ending knee injury at Ohio State, I don't know why that was so hard to say, that scared off some NFL teams, or at least gave them pause. His level of participation in the first practice of a comparatively irrelevant rookie class might have surprised you. It did one person, Andy Reid. He's moving around well, the Chiefs head coach said. I was surprised at how well he was doing out there, moving, and it looks like he's comfortable with it. And then he notably added, he looks like he's got some talent there, God doggone it. A doggone it? So soon? Andy Reid knows what he's looking at. Andy Reid would know how far along this guy should be. For Andy Reid to be surprised about the progress of JoeH Simmons is a very, very promising thing. Now, this is not really any contact. JoeH Simmons certainly was not getting any contact in this camp. But to be moving around is half the battle. More, maybe, than half the battle. To have that mobility, to be moving around on it. These are very, very promising things. The article then goes on to say the following. After all, the Chiefs have something they didn't have a year ago when this is about the left tackle position. After all, the Chiefs have something they didn't have a year ago when they made Suamataia left tackle blunder. They have options. Moore is the most expensive offseason acquisition a cap-constrained team made. 2 years, $30 million. He fit into a well-executed pre-draft strategy that afforded the Chiefs the opportunity to take a risk with Simmons. Fill the needs now and then consider the draft a bonus. We talked about this all offseason. That was something that Brett Veach appeared to be putting an emphasis on. Get the roster spots filled, get a player where you need one, and then just draft the best guy available. Maybe you have someone at a spot that is still a little bit underwhelming, but you can have strengths next to those weaknesses. We've seen Patrick Mahomes win Super Bowls with a weak offensive line and wide receiver core and running back position. One video that I'm sort of outlining now, I'm trying to figure out how to present it, is looking at the draft picks made by the Kansas City Chiefs and the heavy investment that they put on the defensive side of the ball early into Mahomes' career, when the defensive side of the ball really kind of stunk. But on offense, they had Travis Kelce and they had Tyreek Hill. They had to trade Tyreek Hill. They traded Tyreek Hill for draft picks that became defensive players. And then they had two very unfortunate draft picks in Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Sky Moore. And some would maybe throw Wanya Morris in there. Some, I think it's still too early to throw Wanya in there. Some would put Kingsley Suamataia in that group as well. I think it's too early for that. But those two picks in particular, Sky Moore a second rounder, Clyde Edwards-Helaire a first rounder, didn't pan out for the offense. And that set things amiss for this team. So with those things, maybe in the past, you're looking at Sky Moore probably not making the team this year. You're looking at Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice taken in consecutive drafts that appear to be actual legitimate NFL wide receivers. You're looking at a running back position that has more bodies thrown at it than, I don't know, Kim Kardashian. So we're going to be coming to a place where the running back position might get figured out. Wide receiver appears to be getting figured out. The offense could take that next step forward, if only for the offensive line positions. And they have thrown the resources in there. We will see what kind of leap Kingsley Suamataia is able to make between years 1 and 2. But anyway, that too is a product of a lesson from a year earlier when the Chiefs navigated the draft not only hoping for a player, but actually needing a starter. Last season, as it became clear Suamataia was the guy, I pointed out the historical risks of starting a rookie at left tackle. No team had ever started a rookie for more than 12 games at left tackle and won the Super Bowl. Only two had ever started a rookie at the position at least half the season, and none in a quarter century. If the Chiefs' summer organized team activities, OTAs, mandatory minicamp, and training camp prove Simmons is truly ready, in an estimation treated with the same care as his injury, that's terrific. They could have a top 10 or top 15 talent with the last pick of the first round because other teams couldn't afford to take the same risk. One thing worth noting here. The Chiefs are in a good position with the offensive line, assuming just one or two players works out. How devastating would it be for a left guard playing in the place of Joe Thuney to replace Joe Thuney and be as bad as the left tackle position was last year? Well, it would be bad. It wouldn't be as bad as the left tackle position being as bad as the left tackle position had been. Those are very different positions for the offense with very, very different outcomes should the starter be substandard. Now, where was it here? The Chiefs will be better at the left tackle position regardless of whether or not Josh Simmons is ready to play this year. And here's what I want to do. This is Jalen Moore. This is Jalen Moore on PFF. This is the guy who was signed to play left tackle before the Chiefs were able to make the pick of Josh Simmons in the first round. a 74.9 grade overall, 73.1 pass blocking grade. It's a good number. 70.1 run blocking grade. Those are good numbers. He only played 271 offensive snaps. That's not the greatest sample size. But he only gave up 1 sack, and he had 0 penalties. If I were to ask you, who was the best left tackle the Kansas City Chiefs had last year? The very best player they wheeled out there at left tackle for this offense. You'd say Joe Thuney. Well, I didn't really have the ability to isolate Joe Thuney's starts, but I was able to isolate Joe Thuney's postseason performance. A 71.3 overall grade. Now, what makes these things compellingly similar is they would have been similar snap counts as well. So a 71.3 overall grade, whereas Jalen Moore had a 74.9. That's a 3-point advantage for Moore over Thuney. Okay, that doesn't sound so great. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs really need a left tackle, not so they can run so much. I mean, the right side of the line includes Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. It's the left side of the line needs to hold up in case of passing. Joe Thuney had a 67.5 pass blocking grade at left tackle, 73.1 for Jalen Moore. That is a 6-point advantage for Jalen Moore over Joe Thuney. The run blocking grade is better too. Run blocking 70.1, run blocking 69.7, and the running game will be improved in my opinion because of the running backs on the roster as well. But I think Elijah Mitchell is very underrated. Should he be back to form from his injury as well? A lot of that going on with this Chiefs team. You can throw a lot of players in that bucket. So, but I do think that Jalen Moore, should he start, would be an upgrade over where it was that Joe Thuney was last season at the left tackle position. So upgrading left tackle, even with Jalen Moore, this is not to say that Josh Simmons is healthy, week 1, snap 1, able to start, bada bing, bada boom, you've got your franchise left tackle. I'm not saying that at all. You don't have to have that happen in order for the offensive line to be upgraded. In order for the left tackle position to be upgraded. The left tackle position is upgraded from Joe Thuney by Jalen Moore right off the bat. Now, let's pretend left tackle is solved this season by Jalen Moore. Well, now there's a great big question mark at left guard, right? Joe Thuney, all-pro Joe Thuney is gone. All-pro Joe Thuney is playing in Chicago now. What are the Kansas City Chiefs supposed to do at the left guard position? Well, now you have one more option, assuming that Josh Simmons is healthy. Maybe the Kansas City Chiefs don't want to start a rookie at left tackle. Maybe the Kansas City Chiefs don't want to take that risk with their quarterback having a rookie at the left tackle position. They were willing to do it last year with Kingsley, but let's just say they're not. Let's say Josh Simmons is healthy, meaning that the risk of re-injury is nil, but he's not in the shape he used to be. He's a little out of wonk because he was on the shelf for so long. Wouldn't he be a candidate at the left guard position? Now you have Wanya Morris, Kingsley Suamataia, Josh Simmons, and all of the other NFL caliber offensive linemen the Kansas City Chiefs have vying for that left guard position. Wouldn't it be better to have Josh Simmons on the field at left guard than not at all? I really do believe Kingsley Suamataia has the inside job at that spot. If you looked at him last year when he was on the field, I think it would have been difficult to completely write him off. I think if you were being fair, you would have looked at him and said, maybe this guy's not a left tackle, but he looks like he could be a guard. I think he can be a right tackle. I think there could be a left tackle inside of him yet. I think that he was a little shell-shocked. It looked to me that he did lose a lot of confidence, and that might have been why we didn't see him really back on the field all that much. But I also think that Wanya Morris looks the part of an NFL offensive guard. I think Wanya Morris can be a right tackle. So I think that we could be in for an interesting training camp for these Kansas City Chiefs, seeing what it is that they do at these offensive line positions, because I think there could be some mixing up going on. The only thing that I would put on paper for good is Creed Humphrey at the center position. I mean, Trey Smith could play left guard. You could have Hunter Nourzad come off the bench at one of those tackle guard positions. There's all sorts of players that the Chiefs have that could work their way up the roster onto the field, but the element has to be taken from this article that Josh Simmons is surprising Andy Reid with where he is in his development. That's all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting a like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on the channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.